The story begins in 1865, in a secluded part of England, where Catherine and Alexander tie the knot. Alexander, older and affluent, marries Catherine. That night, Anna, a maid, assists Catherine for her first night, questioning her nervousness, to which Catherine admits she's extremely anxious. Alexander enters later, asking if Catherine is comfortable, but then prohibits her from leaving the house despite her love for the outdoors. Ignoring Catherine's objections, he instructs her to undress and then goes to bed without further intimacy. In the ensuing days, Catherine's life becomes dreary and monotonous due to her confinement. During dinner one evening, Catherine feels exhausted and wants to sleep, but her father-in-law Boris insists she stays awake for Alexander. Later, Alexander enters the room inebriated and dismisses Anna. He then instructs Catherine to undress and turn away. After that, he indulges himself while Catherine faces the wall and then goes to sleep. The next morning at breakfast, Boris informs Catherine that Alexander has left to deal with a coal mine incident and that he himself will be away in London for a few weeks. Boris hopes Catherine can regain her strength during this time and provide Alexander with an heir upon his return. Once Boris departs, Catherine takes the opportunity to go for a walk and enjoy some fresh air. One afternoon, Catherine wakes from a nap to a commotion. Investigating, she finds farm workers weighing Anna in a sack. Much to her dismay, she intervenes, instructing them to face the wall and freeing Anna. Catherine then questions the workers about Anna's weight, causing Sebastian to step forward to assist. However, Catherine reminds them not to waste time, stating that her husband does not pay for such activities. Later, Catherine casually inquires about Sebastian's name from Anna, hinting at her interest. The next day, Catherine goes for another walk, and Sebastian calls out to her, asking if she's lost. She smiles and disregards him. That evening, there's a knock on Catherine's door. Opening it, she finds Sebastian, who expresses his boredom and tries to enter her room for Sifuli. Sebastian overpowers Catherine and forcefully kisses her, prompting Catherine to react defensively. However, she soon becomes swept up in their passionate encounter. The following morning, Anna is surprised to find Catherine still in bed when she tries to wake her up. Later, Catherine and Sebastian share moments of intimacy again. Days later, the local priest arrives at the house and questions Catherine about her absence from church. Realizing she might have unintentionally revealed their secret, Anna encounters Sebastian while picking mushrooms. She subtly hints at her awareness of their relationship by mentioning Alexander's potential reaction. Sebastian responds cautiously, promising to investigate. That evening, Catherine and Sebastian are together once more. Anna catches a glimpse, but flees when she feels Sebastian's gaze on her. Days later, Anna wakes Catherine to inform her of Boris's return from the fields. During dinner that evening, Boris inquires about Alexander's whereabouts, but Catherine professes ignorance. Boris then instructs Anna to bring a vintage bottle of wine, only to find it empty, having been consumed by Catherine. Boris demands an explanation from Anna, but she is too afraid to confess. He humiliates her, ordering her to kneel and warning her that he will treat her like an animal if she behaves as such. Meanwhile, Catherine observes the scene with indifference, showing her lack of concern for Anna. Soon, Boris discovers Catherine and Sebastian's affair. He violently beats Sebastian and imprisons him. Upon learning of this, Catherine demands Sebastian's immediate release, but Boris denounces her as a disgrace to the family. Boris declares that he will not see her until he decides her fate. Catherine defends herself, asserting that she has nothing to be ashamed of and insisting on Sebastian's release. Boris becomes further enraged, blaming Catherine for not providing Alexander with a son. Catherine retaliates, accusing Alexander of being the reason for their childlessness, prompting Boris to slap her. The next morning, during breakfast, Boris scolds Catherine once more, before retiring to his room. Catherine barricades his door with a chair to prevent him from leaving. She then invites Anna to join her at the table, expressing her dislike for eating alone. Finally, Boris starts shouting and attempting to come out, but Catherine intervenes when Anna tries to assist him. Moments later, when his cries cease, Catherine instructs Anna to seek a doctor in town, and Anna hurries off. Meanwhile, Catherine goes to release Sebastian from his confinement. Upon Anna's return with the doctor, they discover Boris has already passed away. The doctors attribute his death to his failing heart due to old age, ruling out foul play. Anna is left traumatized by witnessing the event and becomes mute. The next day, Alexander sends a telegram expressing condolences and stating he won't attend the funeral, citing his strained relationship with his father. After the funeral, Catherine takes charge of the household and dresses Sebastian in new attire. She informs Anna that another servant will handle dinner, as she no longer trusts her. Later, Anna struggles with kneading dough, but another maid advises her not to blame herself, suggesting Boris's death may have been due to natural causes or tainted mushrooms. Meanwhile, Catherine confides in Sebastian about her deep feelings for him, expressing concern over Anna, potentially revealing their relationship. However, Catherine assures Sebastian that Anna is unable to speak, having lost her voice due to the trauma. Days later, Catherine and Sebastian are together when they hear a commotion outside. Catherine, alarmed by the sight of her husband's horse, hastily hides Sebastian in their closet. When Alexander questions why she's still awake, Catherine claims the horse disrupted her sleep. Suddenly, Alexander notices a belt and becomes suspicious, but Catherine quickly explains that she found it on the farm and uses it to cinch her dress. She then diverts attention by mentioning the horse's activity. As they share tea, Alexander criticizes Catherine's appearance and behavior in his absence. He accuses her of causing shame with her affair, hurling insults at her. Unfazed, Catherine unlocks the closet door, inviting Sebastian out. Despite Alexander's presence, Catherine and Sebastian engage in intimacy, which incites Alexander to slap Catherine. A brawl ensues between Alexander and Sebastian, during which Catherine strikes Alexander with a metal rod until he collapses. After disposing of Alexander's body in the woods and burying the horse, Sebastian expresses difficulty sleeping due to guilt. Catherine reassures him, asserting they had to act to remain together. The next morning, Sebastian adopts the role of the household's head, joining Catherine at the table. A few days later, a woman named Agnes arrives at the house and claims that Alexander had a child with her daughter, Teddy. Catherine initially doubts Agnes's words, but Agnes insists she has proof. After careful consideration, Catherine agrees to accommodate Agnes and Teddy in the house. Sebastian is angered by this revelation, but Catherine assures him of the validity of Agnes's claims. Sebastian becomes perplexed by the news, wondering how Alexander fathered a child without any involvement with Catherine. Meanwhile, Catherine is shocked to discover she's pregnant with Sebastian's child. Despite her attempts to inform Sebastian, he avoids being seen by Agnes and Teddy out of fear. Catherine forms a bond with Teddy, finding solace in his company. They spend time together in the fields, much to Sebastian's annoyance. Meanwhile, Sebastian returns to his duties with the other servants. One day, Sebastian encounters Anna in the woods and asks to accompany her. Although initially frightened, Anna eventually agrees to his company. Meanwhile, Catherine, while playing with Teddy, notices Sebastian and tries to approach him. However, she becomes frustrated when Teddy interrupts their interaction, scolding the boy before leaving. Because of this, Teddy becomes upset and dashes into the woods alone. Later, Catherine realizes Teddy is missing, prompting everyone in the house to search for him. Sebastian eventually locates him near a waterfall and carefully guides him back. That evening, Catherine and Agnes remain anxious as Teddy is still absent. Sebastian brings the unconscious boy into the house, urging them to fetch blankets to warm him. However, Agnes insists Sebastian leave, criticizing his authority. Sebastian confides in Catherine his reluctance to endure humiliation because of the child. Catherine pleads with him to stay, promising to fulfill his wishes. Sebastian confesses he had the opportunity to harm Teddy at the waterfall, but couldn't bring himself to do it. Catherine reassures him it's not too late and asks for his trust. Catherine convinces Agnes to rest, assuring her she'll watch over Teddy. After Agnes departs, Catherine admits Sebastian, and together they suffocate the boy with a pillow. Sebastian is shaken by their actions, while Catherine weeps in anguish. The following morning, Anna enters the room and is horrified to find Teddy dead. When the doctor arrives, Catherine claims she may have nodded off for about 10 minutes, and upon waking, discovered the boy wasn't breathing. Observing new bruises on Teddy, the doctor questions if someone entered unnoticed. Catherine insists the bruises were from the waterfall. Meanwhile, Sebastian is seen weeping in the woods, expressing remorse for his actions. After confessing his sins to God, he rushes to the house, admitting to everyone that he and Catherine were responsible for Teddy's death. He divulges their involvement in Boris and Alexander's murders, stating they did so to be together. In response, Catherine accuses Sebastian and Anna of the crimes, alleging Anna's mushroom gathering and Sebastian's following her as suspicious. She claims Boris abused Sebastian, implying a motive for murder. Feigning grief, Catherine pretends Teddy was like her own child, and Agnes consoles her. When the police arrive to question Anna, she remains silent, accepting her fate. Sebastian and Anna are then taken away, likely for imprisonment or execution. In the final scene, the remaining staff and Agnes depart, leaving Catherine alone in the house with her unborn child.
Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell icon, and stay connected with us.